welcome. This is TCS Consulting LLC. My name is Marissa. I'm the CEO, and I'm also the editor-in-chief of Own It Magazine and Publishing. I'm excited to be here. Today's platform focuses on leadership and organizational development. We are starting the year off right. Mindset is everything. I have with me senior consultant Robert Gatewood and my co-host Robin Hughes. In absence is Jacqueline Lulu Brown, and she is with her mom in Connecticut and loving on her mom and celebrating her birthday. I believe it's the 95th birthday, but she is having a bumpy good time. We are missing you, Jacqueline. Love you so very much, and give your mama all our love. So welcome and take the dinner and own it. We are talking about everything about mindset and leadership and organizational development, and how mindset has a huge impact on leadership effectiveness and connectivity, and also on organizational development and performance. And so my co-host and I, we're going to talk to you, and hopefully we're going to leave you with some good tips on how to start the year off right, get in the right frame of mind, so you can finish the year off strong. And so we're talking about everything mindset. And so I'm going to start with we're gonna do the ladies first. And Robin, talk to us a little bit about mindset and getting prepared for the year.
Well, the biggest thing is, of course, with mindset, you have to know yourself, and you have to be always willing to work on yourself. I always say, number one thing, beginning of the year, if you haven't done it already, do your SWOT analysis on yourself, your personal, and do one on your business. So you know what strengths are there, the weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You need to know what those are. And you have to, in order for you to do anything, you have to be self-aware. You have to have the right mindset. I always tell everyone to keep an open mind. You're not the only one that knows things. So at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter your education, your job title, any of that. At the end of the day, you can learn something from everyone. And if you start with that type of mindset, the majority of the time, all kind of things open up. And I always use that example where I was telling people, I had employees that had worked for this organization for more than 6 years, and they didn't know the people that were cleaning and the security in the building. And I knew them by name, and I had just started. And I was having a bad day. It was just allergies and stuff. And she says, "Oh," Yolanda goes, "You're not your bubbly self today." And I said, "Yeah," I said, "my allergies and stuff are messing with me." And she says, "Oh, you need to do this, 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 and this." And I said, "Oh, okay." And she says, "Oh, I was a pharmacist in Mexico. I just can't practice here." And I tell them, and she also owned the business that was cleaning the building. But a lot of times people put a lot of emphasis on job titles. And again, it goes back to people with those types of mindset. If you put yourself on a pedestal, there's no way you can reach down and pull other people up and help them. You won't be able to do it. So I try to get everybody to look at that picture, and they sometimes criticize me when I say, of course, us working on our doctorates, and I say, okay, at the end of the day, I'm very proud of it, but it is a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper. It doesn't make me better than you because I decided to pursue my education. That may not be something you're interested in. It doesn't make me better than you because of that. It never will. Never will. I tell people all the time, what are you going to see? I said, when you go, people are going to remember your legacy. Of course, your family will look at the generational wealth and what you're leaving for them and trying to build for them. In addition to that, people are not, they're going to remember how you treated them. And you can't take that with you. What are you going to do? Have a U-Haul behind your coffin? Or if you're creeping, it doesn't make it crazy to me when I listen, when it's like, you can't always say I'm a go-giver. And so at the end of the day, and it's all about you to do that, and you're thinking you're better than someone else, or you think you deserve respect, just because you have a job title, and we all have work to do on ourselves all the time, no matter what we do. We're always learning. You get to a point you're not going to end up being successful because you're doing yourself and your clients and anyone else you're dealing with a disservice.
Yeah, you're so right. What an excellent example. Robert, you're up.
Well, good morning again, and happy birthday to Jackie's mom. Hope they're having a great morning. New Year off on a good foot. But this is a very interesting topic. As a matter of fact, mindset is one of the 4 planks of my platform for my radio show. It's mindset, mission, market, and money. So you're going right up an alley where I'm very comfortable and very, very, like I said, pivotal part of who I am and what I espouse daily as I talk to my clients and my listeners. And I like to impart that mindset is it's not finite. It's in constant state of refinement. It's not something you wake up one morning and decide you're going to have a good mindset or not. But it's a part of our life's story, part of our journey, and it's accumulative. It has to be constantly refined, and it's part of anything that's long term and has multiple points of value is a process. And so when I hear mindset, it's not some platitude. It's actually part of a extended process. And people to get this mindset transcendence, it's not automatic. It's something that when we talk about it, we have to remember we're talking about a leg of a journey. It's not the beginning of the story. It's this mindset that we have acquired began sometimes straight out of the womb. And then it's not in a vacuum. Everybody we encounter, the experiences that we have, the jobs we start, the companies we start, the jobs we work on, it helps refine that mindset. So I like to look at mindset as a goal of enlightenment. We reach a certain level of enlightenment, and as part of being a leader, we have to look at others who have not reached that same point of enlightenment. And one way to help them along the way is to help enlighten them. And the best way to do that is by doing. How we present ourselves, how we carry ourselves in the world, then we can, as leaders, help others become enlightened. Now, enlightenment, of course, is very subjective. People look at one person's enlightenment, maybe another person's downfall, but that's where leadership comes in. We don't live in a world where we go out here and do things and it doesn't affect people. So we have to make good, sound decisions and understand that this mindset that we carry around and that some people take lightly and some just are not even aware of, that we have a responsibility to make sure that mindset proliferates in a positive way. And that's where mindset and leadership coincide and work together.
Yes. Yeah, you hit on a lot. you said you just don't wake up with this mindset. It is an awakening when you desire to be intentional. So, at some point we wake up and say, oh, you know what? I can actually be proactive in this. Like, I don't have to just exist. I can actually live. And so it's a decision. It's a decision. And if you've taken the role, just because we've all talked about that individually, in our careers and in all the stuff that we do in regards to everyone that has a leadership title has it claimed the leadership, right? So they've got the title, but they have not taken ownership of the role. And so that is a big difference in how you show up as well. An organization should have a strong desire to make that a priority in their leadership. And I always argue, and Robin and I, being classmates for many years, talked about how it's so important to not just look at directors and senior leadership, but the most critical part of an organization is right there at the crust of the middle, and that's supervisors and management. Why? Because they have direct access to your larger population of the workforce, right? And we're talking about influence. So when we think about mindset, we're not just talking about mindset. We're talking about what that mindset has and that influence it has on everyone who is benefiting from the experience of that mindset, right? So that's why it's so important for organizations to start looking not just at senior level leadership, but they should look at an ROI on their supervisors and managers. That is where it's critically important, and that is where you're going to really find out how well your company is doing. Supervisors and they need to understand that they are two leaders. They are leaders. They have an opportunity to influence based on their own mindset. So a decision is, are you going to have a fixed mindset or are you going to be open-minded and have a growth mindset? So fixed or growth, fixed or growth. So, I always like to do my homework. And so I do my little research and I'll share the link of where I got this information from. I'll share the story. How does a leader create and nurture a growth mindset? Why do we want a growth mindset? Because a growth mindset doesn't stay here. And when we look at technology and how it's growing out of control, we know that organizations, if they want to be effective and stay current and relevant, they have to foster a culture of a growth mindset. And that means that they have to, in a growth mindset, you're open for and you embrace change, because change is good. It keeps you current. Okay, case in point, you got to change the milk, right? You're not going to leave the milk in the refrigerator forever, because that same, bottle of milk is not going to be the same bottle of milk you bought it on the first day. It's going to go sour. So you have to grow, right? You have to grow. So talk about mindset, and I want to talk about, because Robin, you did tap into self-awareness. Leaders have to be self-aware. And I know that there's a lot of information. As I do my research, there's a lot of information about the proper way to do introspective work, and then there's not a proper way to do introspective work. I believe that introspective work, and all of the in between, is so critically important. And we do know ourselves. If we want to get real with ourselves, we do know ourselves. It's a cop out to say, I don't know. Yeah, you know about you more than anybody else in the world knows about you, because you know what's going on with you behind the doors, and you know what's going on in front of folks. And you know where you're wearing that phony hat, and you know where you're wearing that real hat. And so let's just keep it real. Let's stop with the fluff, because if we want to get where we want to go, we have to be authentic. And so talking about that self-awareness and why it's so critical, because self-awareness and owning all of who you are, is critical to your health. It's critical for your peace of mind, right? And it's critical for your fulfillment and enjoyment of life. And so talk about, I want to give you guys an opportunity to hit 3 areas. The being open-minded in your mindset, to embracing change, to becoming more aware of self, and disrupting self, because I believe that disrupting of self is where we can break in and start really changing that mindset. So talk to us. I'll start with you, Robin. It's again embracing change, becoming self-aware, and disrupting of self.
Well, the main thing when I look at, I always tell people you have to have that open mindset. And in order for you to keep in mind, we talk about spillover a lot. Whenever we're dealing with certain things, if we don't have that open mindset, guess what? Other people that we're trying to direct reports, the organization as a whole, that's what builds that company culture. If you have that open mindset, you're willing to learn, you're willing to listen to others and get their input and not feel that they are a threat to you or your job. I find so many times when I go into organizations that that's an issue. One of the things I always talk to them about is self-awareness and open mindset for the company to be able to grow. because sometimes they want to look at it and everything's departmental based. You cannot be successful when you do it that way. You have to work as a team, because guess what? You're all trying to fulfill a certain goal for the organization. No matter what size it is, you're all trying to fulfill that goal. What do you want to do? You want to be able to do a great job with customer service, because guess what? At the end of the day, that's what keeps your customers coming back. Repeat business. If you have repeat business and you're selling a good product or service and they keep coming back, guess what? Then word of mouth will get out, and that'll continue to bring, your returns on your investment, positively impacting the bottom line. So all of this that you talk about is going to actually end up impacting everything as a whole. And I won't get on my company culture is something I go in and deal with, that DEI. And my pet peeve about organizations just checking a box, because at the end of the day, when you talk about DEI, what happens? If you do not get to the root of the problem, which is systemic racism, it is not going to do you any good if you just put all these other programs into place and you don't address the root problem. You have to get the training for all of it. And yes, it's a difficult conversation. A lot of people don't want to touch it. But again, if you have an open mindset, guess what? You'll be able to do that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, the more that you get in touch with yourself, the more that you can have connectivity with others. You have connectivity, you have authenticity, it becomes natural when you begin to own all of who you are. And disrupt yourself. Don't get comfortable and complacent. And so, Robert, I'm going to give you a chance. So it's embrace change, become self-aware, and disrupt yourself. So disrupt yourself should be at the top of that.
I was going to say we should have did that in reverse, shouldn't we?
Disrupt yourself is the biggest thing. Is you got to disrupt yourself so that you become self-aware, and then you can embrace and teach others. Because when you do this to yourself, now you know the process, and now you can share it with others. Robert, you're up.
That's interesting that you were changing the order. I was going to put them in a slightly different order myself. I was going to start with self-awareness, because self-awareness opens the doors to the others. Because once you become self-aware, you realize where your shortcomings are, how you fit into the big scheme of things, and then you can become that disruptor to make things go more in your favor. But open-mindedness to me is like the umbrella. To me, it's hard to isolate it from the other components, because open-mindedness means that you are able to see your own self-awareness. You are able to open that pathway to disrupting, and keeping in mind that the mind is a we're talking about mindset. We are talking about the mind. The mind is very dynamic. It's in a constant state of refinement, and so when we're doing things that are counterintuitive and going down that road of disruptiveness, then we have to remember that this mind, which is a big part of our being, did not. And I keep making this point. It did not start in 2022, and so this disruption that we're embracing or looking to make a part of our goals of 2023. It's not automatic. It's going to take that self-awareness. It's going to take that open-mindedness. And I like the way those three parts, they are very interconnected. Neither one of them work in a vacuum. And like I said, I think individually we may have to change the order. If you're not a self-aware person, you may have to make that your number one priority. If you're very closed-minded, that may be your most immediate goal. If you're stuck in your ways and have been going down a path and unchanging, then you may want to do some disrupting early on so that your mind can be open and more receptive to ideas and self-awareness. So I think my bottom line is that these three components, they work together, but individually you have to decide which one is the priority depending on where you come from. Because like I said, some people start out self-aware and open-minded from the cradle. But others, I mean, they're into their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and their mind is closed like a fist. So you gotta do some. But like it really is hard to say which one it trumps the other. It's just a matter of where you are at this point in your life.
And you hit it at the beginning, Robert, when you said it's a process. This is a process. And one of the things that are in the article that I'm, using as a reference, it says recognize and reward the value of failure. Because the reason why people don't want to be deep, they don't want to know themselves, they don't want to disrupt anything is because of embarrassment, shame. Mm-hmm. They should be at this point, at this time. So they don't want to go deeper because when they look really in that mirror, because of some of the choices that they made along the way, or if they're late to that aha moment or awakening moment, they're so busy focusing on the negative and the shame. They don't realize that there's always an opportunity to start over. Like you can keep looking back, or you can start over. And there's a button that, because you are the CEO of your life, your career, your business, you have the opportunity to hit the reset button anytime you want to, because you are the chief executive officer. So you can hit the reset button and you can make a decision. It says a decision that is back there. And today I'm moving forward, and I am going to be open to growing from this moment forward, because failure is not final. It's just a part of the process. What you do from that moment on. And if you take that negative and make it a positive, start looking at the glass half full and not half empty, and say, hey, okay, well, I failed. I made a different, poor decision. I have made those decisions, and I have to live with that every day, even with coming live and coaching and counseling other people. I still have to deal with some of the decisions that I have made that have not been the greatest. But one thing I've learned to do is I've always taken, what can I take from this? We always do an assessment. So in psychology, we always do an assessment. We just like Robin said at the top, it's the SWOT analysis. Look over what you have done and learn from that and glean from that. But make the decision to say, I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to stay back. And every time that thought of failure comes in, grab it and say, that's not me, that's yesterday, and I'm moving forward. And then prepare yourself, because there's going to be more mistakes along the way. There's going to be more learning and more growing. And it's just a process. You don't have to own that forever. It's just a part of the journey and just a part of the process. So as we are closing out, Robin, want to share some of your closing thoughts. What's a tip that you can give to our viewers today that would help them to just become more cognizant, or however you want it, wherever it is that you want to take them? What's a tip that you can give them to move forward for the year?
Always work and strive to be better than you were yesterday. Be better today. When you come into your new day, leave it in the past. It happened last night. That was yesterday. Leave it in the past. Strive to do better the next day. And that's all that's the main thing you can do. Strive to be better every day. Every day, try to be better than what you were yesterday. And if you strive to do that, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. And I know I tell people all the time, I'm harder on myself than I am on others. Now, my children would always get me, because I would always tell them, I am very transparent. And I know I'm not going to expect more than you can deliver.
Yes.
And I get to know people very well. So I tell them, I said, even employees and other people that I work with. And I tell them, if you focus on doing this can help you to get past that. But you're going to fall. Even if you fall in the dirt, get all dirty, get up, brush yourself off, rinse yourself out. If you get the dirt in your mouth, keep on stepping, hold your head up high. Because guess what? You're going to have to fail sometimes to be successful. But it's what you do with that failure that helps you be successful moving forward. You can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome. So if something's not working, it's not etched in stone. Tweak it and change it for you to be able to move forward to find success.
Amen.
Very good. Very good. Robert, you're up.
Those are good words to live by. Well, we've talked a lot about the logistical parts of mindset, but I'm going to be, at this point, be a little more purposeful and saying as we're going into 2023, regardless of how we got to where our mindset is or what stage of development it is, I think it is important as we go into 2023 that we direct our mindset into some tangible outcomes. If that means let's focus on growth, that focus on being a better person, being more decisive, being a better steward of our businesses, being a more cheerful giver, then let's take this let's adopt these different mindset techniques and take these logistics that we talked about, these tactics, and point them into a certain direction. And so when people are making resolutions this time of year, whatever you want to call them, it is a good time to reflect and to look where we're going and make sure we're on the path that's in line with our purpose and who we are. And part of that is adapting and being comfortable. And like you said, Robin, that mindset, being self-aware, being open-minded, and then let's go down the path that aligns with our purpose and who we are. And that will solidify the mindset, and it will help others who are lost and aloof and adrift. If they see you taking that leadership role, then we're going to have not only fulfilling our own aims, but we'll be helping others along the way.
Yes, yes, yes. In the leadership role, that is critically important to understand that as we lead ourselves, we're also leading others. And so I'll say in closing, disrupt yourself this year. Take yourself out of a place of complacency and take yourself into a place of growth. Don't be afraid to really, really identify what it is that you want to accomplish, right? Your vision and mission for 2023. And don't be afraid to accomplish it. The fulfillment of your life is based on what you desire to do, what you desire to accomplish, and being focused enough to see those things become reality. I think that that's where, when you are living a fulfilling life, you will embrace change because you see that change is so wonderful, because you see the change from starting a goal and reaching a goal and what it takes to get that in between. I think the mindset is so important to start the year off right, because when you have an agenda, as Robert said, when you have an agenda, you can be focused because you know what 2023 is supposed to look like. And everything that comes into play should be in alignment with where you want 2023 to end. That's why we say, start the year off right, get your mindset right, create an agenda, not resolutions, an agenda. What is your 2023 going to look like? And then you want to set an action plan in place that'll get it done. The reason why you want to have connectivity with your people is because you can't do it alone. And what you want to do is make sure not only you shine, but that your people shine, so you can tap into and unleash all of your unlimited potential. We are out. You guys have an amazing and incredible week and weekend. Happy New Year. Get your mind right and start the year off right. Take care. We're out.